How do you beat an office view like this one? Every time of the year is good, but we love the summertime because this is where we get to work. We've successfully moved sheep home from the winter range on the desert, out of the lamb sheds with their new lambs to the spring range, gathered everything back home, and now it's time to get these woolies on the mountain. We moved the first two herds up the mountain from the bottom on the trail with horses and dogs. Places these sheep go are not accessible to the trucks, and they start at a much lower elevation, so they get to walk. We have 4 herds left to get on the mountain, but for these herds, we're going to load them on trucks and haul them right to the top. Herds number 3 and 4 are pretty close to home and don't have to go very far on the trucks. With good corrals and good roads the whole way, these are the easiest herds to get on the mountain, and if all goes well, it usually doesn't take too long. We can't just pick any old spot on the mountain and go unload sheep for the summer. We have a combination of private ground and grazing permits from the Forest Service that allow us to put our sheep on forest ground for a certain amount of time with a certain amount of sheep. We have to document when we go up, when we move, and when we come off. We have a herder stay with each bunch of sheep all year long. Their job is to keep the sheep on good feed, keep them moving to different feed areas so one single area doesn't get overfed, and monitor the overall welfare of the herd, dogs, and grazing permit he has been assigned to. Herd number 5 has to go a lot farther, and it takes a lot longer to get them to where they need to go. The road is steep, narrow, and it takes a while to climb all the way to the top of the canyon. There are parts in the road that are so steep and narrow, we need someone at the top to make sure that nobody else comes down the road since there's not enough room for 2 trucks to pass. With all the trucks to the top of the mountain, we set up the chute and get to unloading. It's a good thing we have such good help to get all the sheep off the trucks. Our sheep are on and off trucks so many times in a year, they know what they're doing pretty well by now, so it usually doesn't take too long to get everything off. With all the sheep in their new home, it's time to head back down the steep, windy road and start the 3-hour drive back home. Six hours away, and in another state waits the last herd of sheep to get back home and on the mountain. This herd takes a lot more to get moved, simply because of the distance they are from home. We need to go out 2 days before so we can help bring the sheep down to the corral, move the camp and commissary, and get the corral ready for the trucks to load in the morning. With the road so rough and steep, we have to first move the camp to the corral and then go back for the commissary. It took us almost all day to get both moved down and get ready to put the sheep in the corral for the night. With all the sheep in the corral taken care of for the night, now we just need to wait for the rest of the trucks to show up and get parked. We are a long ways up a dirt road in the middle of nowhere, and with rain clouds on the horizon, we were just hoping that it would pass us by so we could get loaded and make it back to the pavement without getting stuck. There isn't a whole lot of room here at this corral, and it takes a lot of finagling to get everything turned around and backed in, especially the cab over. Since we have to load the cab over from the side, and since there is no room to move it around, it took some doing, but we made it work in the end and started loading sheep. Got the last of the trucks loaded. Gonna get the horses in. Gonna hook up the camp. We're gonna get out of here. We got the horses loaded in the commissary, the camp hooked up, rounded up one last sheep that had gotten loose, and we headed for the mountain. After almost 7 hours of driving, 350 miles and across 2 states, we started to climb up the mountain. When we unload, we park side by side so it's easier for us to move the chute from one truck to the other. The sheep are happy to finally be on the mountain and on such good feed. As we turn them out of the trucks, the herder will be there with his horse to keep them gathered and close until everything is off the trucks and unloaded. From here, he will start them towards where they're going to bed for the night and call it a day. From when we bring the sheep home in the spring, way back in February and March, it seems like we go non-stop every day. There's so much work to be done, from lambing, farming, moving to and from the spring range, until finally we get the sheep up the hill. Once this day comes and the last sheep are on the summer range, we finally feel like we can take a deep breath and relax a little bit. The sheep are happy. The lambs are growing and getting bigger every day. When sheep are happy and have plenty of feed, it makes the herder's job a lot easier, which makes them happy. When the sheep and the herders are happy, that makes us happy. This is why we look forward to this time of year all year long.